Good afternoon, everyone. It is a little earlier than we typically host these, so I wanted to mix it up this week. I'm here with Randy Schellenberg from ComforTek Seating, and they have been a partner with us for some time now, and I can tell you guys, they have the most incredible products that you're going to be having these aha moments like, I didn't even realize I needed this, but you're going to feel like you need it, trust me. So before he gets started, I want to tell you guys about how to ask questions. So over on the right-hand side, there is a control panel. You have a questions tab that you can ask questions throughout the presentation, and I'll try and answer them the best I can. If they're questions that pertain to Randy, he's going to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Also, they're doing a giveaway today. They're going to be giving away one of the caddies that you see here on the left-hand side, on this chair on the left-hand side. And it is going to be given to somebody who chooses a random number between 1 and 1,000. Whoever reaches the closest number to what Randy shows us at the end of the presentation will win that prize. So if you guys can type in the questions tab right now, a number between 1 and 1,000, and I'll remind you guys one more time before we end, but go ahead and get your numbers ready now so that when we get to that end, we can pick a winner. So Randy, thank you so much for being here with us today, and I'm going to pass things over to you.
Molly, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to be part of the RAL organization. And a special thanks to all of you that are attending. Today's webinar is entitled Specialized Seating for Seniors and Caregivers, How Dining Chairs Can Increase Occupancy. I trust we'll be able to give you some insights and tips into exactly how this is going to work, and this will be of significant interest to you. Today's invite list includes individuals involved with residential assisted living. Some will be current operators, and others will be exploring this as a new business venture. We thank you for your time and trust that this information will be helpful to you. As Molly has mentioned, we are pleased to have a door prize today. If there's going to be a tie, we'll have more than one door prize, but we do ask that you submit a number between 1 and 1,000, and we'll be happy to get one of these chair caddies off to you. My background comes from being involved in the chair manufacturing business for some 21 years. About 6 years ago, we made the change into long-term care, into healthcare, and I trust that the insights that we've gleaned that we'll be able to share with you today will be of interest to you. Let us begin. I'll kill my camera for most of it, and I will come back at the end so that you can see the maximum number of screens that we have. Why dining chairs designed for seniors need to swivel, turn, roll, and brake for safety. How chairs that swivel, turn, roll, and brake for safety reduce injury to care staff, create an enjoyable mealtime routine, reduce flooring and furniture costs, and for today's topic, increase occupancy. The loss of mobility is stressful for all members of the community. Persons with reduced abilities experience an overwhelming sense of being a burden or a nuisance to their children or children's children. That's good enough. Please do not fuss over me or comments frequently uttered. Asking for assistance draws attention in a manner they would rather avoid. So in silence, these cherished members of our family feel isolated, alone, and dare I say, even ashamed of their current lot in life. Caregivers too endure a sense of helplessness, as often there's nothing they can do to improve the situation for an aging loved one. Caregivers frequently lack the physical strength to adjust or move a seated person to a place of greater comfort or enjoyment. Without some mechanical means, there simply is no way to get everyone seated at the table. We'll come back to this slide a little later on when we talk about swivel, turn, roll. Today's agenda, we want to look at the residential assisted living reality. We want to talk a little bit about the limitations of furniture and caregivers. And then we want to look at some options that make it easier for you as staff to provide care to your residents. Option 1 will be the caddy, option 2 will be the swivel chair, and option 3 will be the bariatric seating and tables. The house on the left indicates that there are essentially 4 rooms: the bedroom, the bathroom, the living room, and the kitchen. Today's presentation is going to focus on solutions for the kitchen or the dining room. The dining room table is the heart of any care community. It is where we are nourished, it is where we gather. It is good for the body, the mind, and the soul, and it's used by all. It is in the dining table where intergenerational relationships are fostered and cherished. But what if a resident doesn't have the strength or the coordination to get seated at the table? Then what? Today's residential assisted reality is that there are three essential players that all have a stake in the care that is provided. Residents, they often feel that they're a burden to staff. They feel they're a nuisance or an inconvenience. They don't want to be singled out, and they certainly resent the use of a wheelchair. Care staff experience time constraints. They lack the physical strength required to assist. They work with outdated equipment or furniture, and they risk injury assisting heavier residents. Family members, however, expect that their loved ones, their parents, will be treated with a sense of dignity and respect. Daily mealtime challenges experienced by caregivers include how to assist a person up to or away from the table, how to assist a person of 300 plus pounds get seated and moved up to the table, how to assist a person using a rollator wheelchair transfer into a dining chair and then get moved up to the table, how to provide feeding assistance when different styles and different types of jerry chairs are used, and how to assist a person who is not capable of understanding verbal instructions get seated and moved up to a table. Each of these situations creates a problem or a challenge for today's caregivers. So let's examine how we get seated at a table. You and I'm not sure what style of chair you're sitting in right now, but able-bodied individuals, typically when we're being seated at a table, we approach the chair from behind, we position the chair, we position ourselves between the chair and the table, we get seated, we lift the chair slightly and scoot forward. A person that's living with mobility limitations has exactly the same steps. The chair needs to be positioned, they need to get themselves seated, the chair needs to be lifted slightly as it is scooted forward. But if you've lost the coordination to do so, it's the requirement of a caregiver that has to step in between each one of those steps. So how much assistance can a caregiver offer? According to the Silverstone Group, providing care involves an awful lot of lifting, pushing, and pulling. A person can safely lift 35 pounds under normal conditions, no sudden moves or twisting, and a person can safely push up to 20% of their body weight or pull up to 30% of their body weight. That means that a 140-pound caregiver is capable of lifting 35 pounds, pushing 28 pounds, or pulling 42. And a 200-pound caregiver can still lift the same 35 pounds, increase it to 50 if you wish, but they can safely push 40 pounds and they can pull 60 pounds. Essentially what this means is that a caregiver is able to safely move an empty chair, maybe a chair with an infant or a young child in it, but certainly not an adult seated in one of those chairs. So there's obvious limitations for the caregiver right off the bat. Sorry about that. Today's dining furniture. Today's dining furniture looks like this. Stylish chairs, arms, back, fabric, probably some cold cured molded foam. This is the way the chairs are purchased. However, when they're used for seniors, they're often modified to look like this. We'll have green tennis balls on some. We'll substitute tub chairs. In some cases, we're literally limited in terms of saying we'll use a wheelchair. Or in some cases, we try to add casters to the front legs of chairs, thinking that that's going to be some sort of an advantage in terms of being able to move people to and from the table. The reality is that it appears that we all like the look of green tennis balls when applied to our chairs because we do it so frequently. The reality is that traditional dining furniture is simply inadequate when used for seniors for a number of reasons. By design, chairs are not designed to roll. Chairs rely on friction to remain steady and structurally sound. And yet the very nature of moving somebody up to a table demands that somehow the chair has to be moved. The increased use of cushioned floors. Certainly it reduces falls and injuries, but it also increases friction. And size matters. As residents become heavier, It demands more physical effort on behalf of the caregiver in terms of being able to move a seated person up to a table. So how does a caregiver or another senior move a seated person up to a table safely, with ease and grace, and without risk of incurring personal injury? We believe that by design, chairs designed for seniors should swivel, turn, roll, and brake for safety. And by design, tables should lift and extend individually. Let's look at this in more detail. The chair on the extreme left is a chair that includes the caddy, and we'll talk about that one directly. But this is a caddy that attaches to the base of an existing chair that allows the chair to turn, roll, and brakes for safety. The chairs in the right-hand panel, the first chair swivels and locks for safety. You can see that the arrows indicate that the frame of the chair remains solid on the floor, but the seat turns at 90 degrees. The chair in the middle swivels, locks, rolls, and brakes for safety. And in this case, the chair again splits in the middle where the top half rotates separately from the bottom. But now you've got that additional range of movement as this chair can be rolled forwards and backwards, and then the brakes can be applied for safety. And the chair on the extreme right is a full-size chair that has a caddy. And so this entire chair turns, rolls, and brakes for safety. In all cases, what these chairs are doing is eliminating the need on behalf of the caregiver to push, pull, shove, or twist when assisting a seated person up to a table. Let's look at these in more detail. The chair caddy. Here's an animated video in terms of showing how the caddy adjusts, how it functions, and how it can attach to an armless chair or an armchair. The rear wheels allow you to turn the chair, and the foot brakes allow the chair to be locked. The chair sits onto one of the 4 platforms that is attached from the bottom, and once attached, the chair is able to operate in this particular manner. And so here you've got the option of being able to bring a person up to a table, move them without all the effort required to push, pull, shove, and twist them. Applying the brakes again for safety. The chair caddy. It attaches to existing chairs, both wood or metal. It has a low profile design. The chair is raised only 3/4 of an inch above the floor. It fits inside the footprint of an existing chair to eliminate any tripping hazard. It's got medical grade casters. There's 2 different models available, 2 different sizes. It features anti-tip glides, front wheel tension control, foot activated rear casters, and rated to carry 450 pounds. And again, it can be attached to both arm and armless chairs. In this application, the Contessa 100 chair has the caddy attached to it. And with this, a person is able to be seated, separated from their walker, and the caregiver is able to relocate them safely and efficiently up to a table, locking the chair for safety. The caddy comes attached to a number of styles of chairs. Here you can see that we have the Contessa 100. The chair is available with or without the attachable caddy. Here we have another style of chair that may fit the ambience of your home. And again, the chair can be fitted with or without the caddy. And you can see what it looks like in that application. And then the third style of chair, the Contessa 300. And again, it can be fitted with a caddy. And this is what it would look like in a residential assisted living facility. Option 2 is the T2 series of chairs. And this is a complete set of dining chairs. The T2 is the only chair series available that is focused purely on elder care, addressing the needs of the caregivers. This chair series is essentially 4 chairs in one. The chair on the extreme left-hand side is the standard armchair. But that particular chair can be matched with the chair second to it, which swivels, the chair next to that one, which swivels, rolls, and the last chair, the chair that turns, rolls, and in all cases, they brake for safety. You will notice from this image that from the seat up, every chair is exactly the same, with the mobility option recorded below that. So with this style of chair, none of your residents have to be seated in that special chair. When chairs are put into a community, you can actually match the style of chair to the physical needs of each of your residents. You can see by this video that the chairs all look the same, but each of these chairs has a slightly different mobility range. This chair pulls out and moves forward. This chair swivels on its spot. This one swivels and rolls, so you can see you've got that additional range of movement. And then the last chair is the one that turns and rolls, and you can see that you've got still increased movement in terms of what that chair provides to you. This chair swivels and locks for safety. This is the safest chair that we have in the program, for there's no wheels. The frame sits solidly on the floor, and the seat swivels between 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Once the individual is seated, the lever can be tripped. The seated person is moved towards the table, and once it gets back to 12 o'clock, it is locked in place. This particular example is seated with a 20-inch chair, and so you can see that we even provided a stool that goes underneath the table to provide that additional measure of comfort. The hand release in this particular example is being operated by the caregiver, but it doesn't have to be. For the resident is certainly able to trip that lever should they have the ability to do so. Swivels and locks for safety. This chair swivels, locks, rolls, and brakes for safety. Again, you can see that this is the same chair. The seat has been turned from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The individual can be seated with the assistance of a caregiver. Once comfortably seated, the lever is tripped forward, turning the seat to 12 o'clock. And as he's too far away from the table, the caddy allows the caregiver to be able to roll him effortlessly up to the table. And once he's positioned suitably, then the rear wheels can be locked for safety. Swivels, locks, rolls, and brakes for safety. Assisting him into the chair, once comfortably positioned, turning the chair towards the table, locking it in place, and then rolling it forward. This is the same chair. This chair swivels, locks, rolls, and brakes for safety, but it's used in conjunction with 2 tables. If you've got a situation where you've got a dining table on one side and you've got a computer table or a sewing table on the other side, this chair actually allows a seated person to rotate themselves in whatever direction they need to go and work up on that particular table. So the chair is turned at 12 o'clock, they'll turn it to 3 o'clock, they'll continue turning it all the way to 6 o'clock, roll it forward, and be able to work at the other desk. Turning it right back to 3 o'clock is where they will be able to safely exit the chair. So again, the chair is at 3 o'clock, you're moving it up to the dining table, pushing yourself away from the dining table, and then doing 2 rotations, and now you're suitably positioned to be able to access the second table. Again, just giving maximum flexibility to your residents by minimizing the amount of work that a caregiver has to do in terms of being involved in providing this level of care. This chair turns, rolls, and brakes for safety. Here, the entire chair turns. The casters are released, and the entire chair is able to be turned towards the table. This chair provides a little additional movement should there be requirements to go from room to room or maybe from table to table, as the chair allows you to turn in that manner. You can see from the side pictures that this feature is available on a chair that's 22 inches wide, 24 inches wide, and even 30 inches wide, rated for 600 pounds. And so now even the heaviest residents that you have can easily be accommodated at the table without the need of sitting in a wheelchair, because you can present them up to a table in this manner. Turns, rolls, and brakes for safety. These tops lift and extend individually. Each of the tops moves up and down 10 inches, and they pull in and out 6 inches. Meal times are just simply more enjoyable when tabletops are positioned suitably for each resident. This particular style of table comes as a 4-person table as well as a 2-person table. And so regardless of the style of chair, jerry chair, or company chair that people are sitting in, everybody is able to sit at the table that is suitably positioned for their height and the chair that they are seated in. Adjusting up and down and in and out to suit the application for any seated person that you have. Several testimonials. My mom can safely get herself up using the arms, and I do not have to worry with the chair slipping out from under her. My back will be saved by not having to pull out her chair. My husband has Parkinson's and has broken 2 chairs attempting to get close enough to the table. So easy to sit him at a table now. The chair has allowed my dad's caregiver to move him to and from the kitchen table with ease. My dad can control the swivel action, which gives him some freedom and independence. And I'm amazed at the amount of energy I've left at the end of the day, as I no longer have to struggle getting my husband to and from the table. My dining chair is designed for seniors, need to swivel, turn, roll, and brake for safety. Let me talk about the last point, which is increasing occupancy. We have a field study that happened in central Kansas. A provider in Kansas has received daily requests for tours. Typically, these tours are occurred during meal times. To demonstrate the level of care provided in his community, a complete set of chairs with mobility assist features were placed in the dining room. Specifically, he did not want his staff to be pushing, shoving, twisting when assisting a seated person up to or away from the table. His rationale, by demonstrating a high level of care for each resident within the dining room, even for residents who are becoming less and less mobile, family members can expect that same level of care to be shown throughout his care community. Does that differentiate you from the competition down the street? Is that something that's going to cause individuals to sign up at your facility as opposed to another one? We believe it will. How do I begin? We've shown you a number of options. Option 1, option 2, and option 3. Option 1 is the chair caddy. You may be an established community. You may have a full series of chairs that are in your place. And what you're looking for is just simply 1 or 2 chairs to be able to be mobile to assist 1 or 2 of your members. You can begin by just adding a caddy to those chairs. Maybe you're to the point where you're looking for new chairs and you like the stylish look of the Contessa series. You're featuring the Contessa 100, both with and without a caddy. And again, there are other models of chair down this particular line. And so maybe this is where you're at in terms of wanting to make sure that the ambience of your community is still maintained. Or maybe you're to the point where you want to maximize your potential to accept anybody that comes into your community. You don't want to be a situation that says, I can't accommodate somebody of 400 pounds because I don't have the equipment, I don't have the staff that are capable of moving you. You don't want to turn away somebody that has some Parkinson's. You understand the neurological difficulties that they have, and so maybe a swivel chair is needed. And so you've got a combination of chairs that you can be looking for. So how do you begin? You can begin by just the caddy, adding chairs, or you can be looking at the entire T2 series, if that's what you're looking for. The greatest appreciation for this furniture will be evident in the lives of our cherished loved ones as they experience an increased sense of dignity and self-worth. Admittedly, within the care of seniors, there's an awful lot of activities that are personal and private and intimate. These things occur at other parts of the building and they cannot be talked about nor showcased. The dining room, however, is public. It's open to all. And we encourage care communities to use mealtime to build up the self-esteem and the dignity of each resident. Chairs that swivel, turn, roll most certainly reduce stress and anxiety, and they create a more enjoyable mealtime routine. Permit me to switch gears for just half a second as we conclude. Developing a relationship bond with residents and guests is challenging in many caregiving situations. Providing care is difficult and exhausting work, is it always seems to involve an aspect of pushing, pulling, shoving, and twisting. The desire on behalf of caregivers to provide care for a resident is seriously reduced when the physical demands place the caregiver into a position where they are as concerned for their own health as they are the health of their resident. Let me introduce you to Eva and Ed. Notice how Eva is able to develop and maintain a relationship with Ed just as soon as the physical demands of providing assistance are removed. How are you today? That certainly is a nice tie. We're having your favorite meal and for dessert. Is it possible that a chair designed to address the needs of seniors can be instrumental in reducing mealtime stress and anxiety, increasing a sense of independence and self-worth for seniors, and increase occupancy within your residential assisted living community? I believe it can. I want to thank you for your time. I trust this information has been of value to you. I trust you've been able to see how chairs that are designed specifically for seniors make it easier for the senior, make it easier for the administrator, and also make it easier for the caregiver. Well, I'll turn it over to Molly, and we will walk ourselves through the details of the door prize, and we'll look at any additional questions which you may have. My contact information is presently on the screen. If you're wanting to watch additional videos, we also have them located at comforttech.com/RAL. Again, thank you for your time, and Molly, it's back to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Randy. Well, it looks like we do have quite a few people that have typed in their numbers. For anybody who has forgotten or came in a little bit late, you can send over a number in the questions tab between 1 and 1,000. And in just a minute, Randy's going to pick one of those numbers, or a random number that is, and we'll find one that's close enough. And you're going to win a chair caddy. So don't forget to do that for us. In the meantime, you know, I did want to say something. I feel like this presentation, so Randy does a wonderful job of changing this presentation every time he presents, because he learns so much about the REL industry and your guys' needs and what you guys are wanting to learn about this product specifically. But it's truly the difference between, say somebody goes and looks at a care home that's very similar, it's in a similar area, it's the same cost. The difference at that point is A, going to be the impression that you make, and B, the smaller amenities that you have in your care home. And so not that this is a small amenity, but this is something that's going to be in the details. It's going to be the small differences between that home and yours, and between you being accommodating and showing that you care this much about the dining experience, just what they're going to sit in, you know, things like that that are going to help them feel more dignified when they eat dinner with the rest of the people in the home, and just that you care just that much more. So I love this product. I love what you guys have, Randy, and I always love sharing these products with our members. But it doesn't look like anyone has any additional questions yet, so I guess let's go ahead and pick a number.
The number, as I've recorded it down, is 108.
108. And while I look for that winner, do you ship throughout the US?
Yes, throughout US and Canada.
There you go. And they are based in Canada, but they definitely, I mean, we're all in the US, so they would ship to anywhere in the US.
Correct.
All right, 108. All right, it looks like Melanie Rosen, you have won. All right, Melanie, I'm going to send you a message really quick and have you send me an email. So I'm sending you a message in your chat right there. Go ahead and send me an email. I'll get you connected up with Randy, or go ahead and send Randy an email. Either way works. Just that way we get you where you need to go so that you can get your caddy. So congratulations, Melanie. And looks like that's it. So thank you, Randy, so much. Anybody who's watching this recording, visit their website, comforttech.com/RAL. You guys, these are incredible chairs. So take advantage of it as soon as you can. Thank you, Randy. Have a great day.
Thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.